Hey everyone, welcome back to GISC 126, Fundamentals of GIS. Today I'll discuss the components of good map design. So there's 6 elements that comprise what makes good map design: clarity, order, balance, contrast, unity, and harmony. So designing better maps means thinking carefully about each aspect of the map design process. What makes a map a good? When done well, a map is a vehicle for effective communication. So the first is clarity. This is the ability of the map to convey its message. If the map is not clearly conveying the message, then you have failed as the cartographer to produce a quality map. So clarity is achieved by fully examining the objectives of the map and emphasizing the important points of the map. Avoid overloading the map with too many details that do not contribute to the overall objectives of the map. Sometimes we have this tendency to want to put everything on a map. Well, if we put things on that aren't pertinent in conveying this specific message, leave it off. Order is the logic of the map, the path that the eye follows when viewing a map. Avoid areas on the map that are cluttered and confusing. Avoid making auxiliary map elements like graphical scales, meridian arrows, legends, title block, etc. that are too large or place too much emphasis on themselves. That's kind of the first kind of error people make when they have the very first GIS class. The north arrow is gigantic and the legend is huge. So the first thing that the map viewer wants to look at is the north arrow because it's just gigantic. Remember, these are auxiliary elements and they are not the main subject of the map. Next is balance, and refers to the visual balance. So the layout on the left is poorly balanced. It does not, the visual centers where the X is, it kind of looks like it's going to, California, or the map is going to kind of fall off to the left. The middle map, the page has many elements, but the subject area, which is California, the state outline, takes up too little of the available space. It's too small. And the map on the right is better layout and uses the available space. So the general idea here of balance is think of your piece of paper, and if you can put your finger underneath the paper, it'll balance perfectly. It's not looking too heavy. For example, the one on the left, if you were to put your finger in the middle of that piece of paper, it would fall to the left because there's too much stuff on the other left-hand side. And the other thing is you don't want a bunch of white space. That is kind of just the white paper in the background. You want to fill it up, and that's what is occurring better in the right-hand map. Balance refers to this visual balance here, and so here we have this other idea of this map. So the one on the left, you have the map itself. While not a great map, we'll use this as an example, but for example, Montana is off to the right. Doesn't look good, it's kind of skewed, and then all the legend stuff is kind of right sort of in the middle. Looking on the map on the right, Montana is in the center, and the map elements are spread out more. So the map has a better feel, it looks more balanced, more white spaces is taken up. So this is a better attempt. Contrast refers to the use of line weights, fonts, characteristics, and colors. So we can look at some of these maps, or these visual contrasts on the left with the boxes, and they have contrast. The little gray box kind of pops out. And then if you look at the Africa in A and B. If you look at A, the outline blends in with the graticules in the background, the squares. So if you can make that line weight a little thicker, a little bolder, it's going to stand out more. You're going to have better contrast from the background. Kind of sense, kind of figure and ground. Unity is the interrelationship between background, shading, font characteristic, and colors on the map. Unity means that the map appears to be using a single unit, not a collection of unrelated bits and pieces. Harmony is the interrelationship between elements on a map. A good map has harmony between the elements. So common errors include use of too many font styles, use of too much color, meridian arrows that are too large in comparison to other elements, and graphical scales that are too large in comparison to other elements. So here is an example of harmony, and here, what is wrong with this this map? How come it's not in harmony? Well, one thing is the north arrow is probably rather large. The scale bars, the representative fraction, are quite big. Your eye kind of draws to that. The other is the legend on the left-hand side has a blue background. There's no need for that. It's a darker blue. It kind of draws your attention. So when you look at this map, what is the very first thing that you want the map reader to do? You want them to look at the map. And then you'll probably look at the map, try to get an idea. Then maybe you'll look at the title of the map, which is too small in this as well. And then you'll maybe go to the legend to understand the map a little bit better. So these things, first thing I want to look at is the 1 to 3 million representative fraction. So here, it's a little better. The title is a little bigger. We know that it's by county. The map colors are probably a little better. Scale bars are a little smaller. It has more harmony. It's improved. It's better. So design is a decision process or decision-making process. So many choices must be made in order to create an effective map, whether for visualization or presentation. Before we begin, there are kind of 5 key questions to ask. Map is like, how will the map be used? Is the map designed to show research findings, to store information, to teach concepts, or to illustrate relationships? The message will probably be unclear if the purpose is not well defined from the start. So, what are the audience? Who's the audience? I've brought this up many different times. You want to know who you're making this map for. Is it the lay person, or is it a very technical person? How familiar are they with the subject matter? So this is going to tell you if you can speak technical jargon or not. How will they use the map? Too often map makers kind of lose sight of their audience. The subject or theme should be clear from the onset, which will help them kind of map the content. So there are several key elements that should be included each time a map is created in order to aid the viewer in understanding the communication of that map and to document the sources of the geographic information. So, number 1 is the map body. And it also refers to the data frame. Content, and it contains the graphic information that is the focus of the message of the map and should typically be the largest element on the map layout. Number 2 is the legend, is the map element that lets the user know what each symbol on the map means. Number 3 is the title, typically placed at the top of the map, is usually the largest text of the map and provides a short descriptive statement about the purpose of the map. It may include other pertinent information such as the time frame or what the map applies to. Number 4 is the north arrow, which indicates the orientation of the map. North arrow elements maintain a connection to a data frame. Number 5 is the scale bar. It communicates the ratio at which the Earth's been reduced to replace on the map. 6 is the metadata, is the documentation of the map and the data displayed on the map. Metadata should include items such as the date the map was created, the author of the map, the data sources in the map. And number 7 is an inset, is a smaller map body that shows greater detail for an area of the main body. However, many maps will not have an insert map. So, elements of a good map design. So we want it graphically balanced, easy to read, limit redundant or unnecessary information, communicates a message visually, conveys the desired message, and functions or satisfies a purpose. So here we look at map design, and here we have a map that is not the best. For example, the title is not very clear. We have a location map that's kind of up towards the top. We should probably have the title going across the top. We have the sources of the information at the top. So it's just not a very clean and crisp map. The north arrow on the left-hand side is kind of just floating around towards the side there. You have a bunch of white space over on the left-hand side where the north arrow is. So probably not the best. Here we have a little bit better map. We have the title is bigger. Things are arranged a little bit nicer. We have some neat boxes here around the vegetation classes, and so forth. The sources at the bottom. So we're getting a little bit better. Here's a much more improved map. The title happens to be at the bottom, which is fine. You can put the title at the bottom, or it could be at the top. But it's much cleaner, crisper. It looks nice and balanced. It's easier for your eye to follow around the map. So it more effectively communicates the message. Again, remember, if you make a poorly designed map, the reader's not going to want to read it. So here you might have spent a lot of time on doing the data analysis, and the data analysis might be great, spot on, but if you make a poor quality map, people aren't probably going to take much interest in it, and they also might think the data that you're presenting is not really accurate as well, since you didn't take very good time at creating a quality map. The other thing is decorative maps. So here's a decorative map that is absolutely horrible. We have a bunch of italicized fonts. This huge north arrow, kind of north arrow reminds me of a pirate north arrow, and it looks like a pirate map to me. We have this little radiating background from dark green out. Looks like a bomb went off or something in the middle of the map, and it's kind of going out. And a huge scale bar. So, horrible map. With a little effort, get rid of all that decorative stuff, make the scale bar more reasonable, get rid of the north arrow to make it nicer. We have a map that communicates the information much nicer. So emphasizes the important content, not the decorative elements. So a lot can be had. You're going to spend an incredible amount of time doing the data analysis, and you're going to spend an equal amount of time on the cartography of the map. So here's a map quiz for you. So what is wrong with this map? So here it says population growth in thousands, but then it's giving you percentages. So that is not quite what the legend is showing. It says in thousands, but they're showing percentages. Here's another map quiz. So somebody spent a lot of time here at this company, National Renewable Energy Laboratories. They made this fantastic map. It looks pretty. It's got a good projection in there. So what's wrong with this map? They used qualitative symbology for quantitative data. So if I were to cover up the legend where it says tons per year, those numbers, would you be able to tell me that yellow is more than green or yellow is more than blue? No. So they used the wrong symbology. So here they had this great map done. They had their person doing the cartography, and they used the wrong type of colors. They used hue or color. What should they have used? They should have used value or saturation. You should have gone maybe from a light, I don't know, green to a dark green, or a light blue to a dark blue. Here's another map. What's wrong with this map? A couple things. It doesn't have the correct projection, which we'll find out more about later on, but you can see kind of the border between Canada and the United States is perfectly flat. Usually is an unprojected coordinate system there. The other thing is the median household income. There are too many classifications in this. The eye can't discern between all these different colors. So between none and less than 20,000 looks pretty much the same to me. 20,000 to 35,000 looks pretty close to me. So it's hard to tell the differentiations. So you want somewhere between 5 and 7 classifications or bins for color. The eye can pick that out much better. And here in this final map, there's nothing wrong with this map. It's a great map. And it's a great map because it's using a projection. You can see the border between Canada and the United States has a curve to it, so it's showing that it's projected. It has nice balance. It doesn't look like anything's going to fall off the map. It doesn't look like it's going to lean any which way. There's not a ton of white space. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data classifications going from light to dark. So it's a great map. So median household income map, and it's by county, and there's actually quite a bit of information that you can glean from this map relatively quickly. So this is a good map.